Hello, everyone. Welcome to Check Me. Right now, we're going to cover this Cleveland Browns Tennessee Titans game. I thought we kind of came into this game with expecting I guess a closer battle. It was closer than what we saw on the scoreboard. I think Titans fought hard, but the Cleveland Browns were just on cue. Even in the absence of Nick Chubb, the Cleveland Browns actually looked good against a fair defense. I won't say a good defense, but a fair defense. Titans weren't doing what they were supposed to do on offense. Only having 15 carries. They didn't have any long drives. The defense for Cleveland was just sound. I think that defense was Adarius Smith and Myles Garrett. It just makes it so much better. You have a secondary with Del Pitt, Emerson, of course Denzel Ward. You have a unit where you can get pressure with four, and then you got a back end secondary that can play sound defense, and that they're going to get better as they continue to play together. So the defense kind of set the tone for this game, initially stopping the run and forcing Tannehill to pass. If you can force Ryan Tannehill to pass, you can do well. D-Hop was pretty much a non-factor in this game as well. But I think the main thing is this is Deshaun Watson's probably best game yet when it comes to efficiency. Even though he got sacked 3 times for 26 yards, I thought that he was efficient passing. He almost nearly had 300 yards, 2 touchdowns. He took care of the ball, and I always look at, did he get to his main guys? And you look, Amari Cooper had 7 catches for 116, 1 tub. Elijah Moore had nine receptions for 49. The question is this a subset of being absent of a run game? Does the non-existence of the run game of Nick Chubb, force him to pass more, force more on Deshaun Watson? I think it does. I think that there's a sense of awareness that Cleveland Browns do have. Deshaun Watson, I thought, was really accurate, throughout the game. Of course, it was against the Titans. It's one showing, right? We have to still figure this thing out and see how it's going to evolve. But I do think that the absence of a run game with having Nick Chubb and not pounding the ball opened some comfortability with the pass. They opened their playbook up for passes downfield. I thought that Deshaun Watson controlled the game very well throughout the game. After looking back, he hit the throws he was supposed to hit, but ultimately he did his best job to take care of the ball. He didn't. There was maybe 1 or 2 ill-advised throws, but he was throwing the ball in great spots, throwing the ball in the middle of the field. And, I always talk about getting your main guy. If you feed your main guy, you can do well. So essentially, he was feeding his main guy, Amari Cooper. He was getting the ball. He had 8 targets, 7 receptions, 1 touchdown, averaging 16 yards a pop. Elijah Moore, 9 for 49 on 9 targets. So every time he threw Elijah Moore the ball, he caught it. You got your tight end involved, and you're hitting the linebackers out the field. Donovan Peoples-Jones even got into the mustard and had 3 for 49 with that big catch he had down the field. So the running game did suffer a little bit. Even though you had 31 carries, you ran the ball less than you passed. You only had 7 to 8 yards on the ground, averaged 2.5 a pop. Deshaun Watson's big runs helped out, and you're not expecting them to completely replace what Nick Chubb did on the ground. But just continuing to run the ball helps you kind of control the game. So even if the runs you may feel don't matter, running the ball does help to keep defense stay honest. And I think that's something what Cleveland did here. What do we expect next week or the following weeks with Cleveland? Do we expect them to have the same type of consistency? Next week they have the Ravens. It's going to be a different story. I do think they're going to put up that to be more effective on offense as well as run the ball on offense as well as on the defensive side. Can they stop the run and make Lamar Jackson? I would probably say, looking at it now, can you make Lamar Jackson run instead of making him pass? The Ravens have a lot they need to square out over there. But I think a true test next week, we're going to see really how good the Ravens are. Another interdivision game. You're going against a Ravens team that's upset after they lost to the Colts. They should have lost that game, just didn't execute. So how are you going to play against a team that's better than the Titans, a top team in the AFC in a division game? Will you come out with the same output that you had against the Titans? So, looking for that matchup. Huge development on Deshaun Watson's side. I just think having a game like that can build confidence for a guy. We're seeing an epic, Ravens versus Deshaun Watson, Lamar Jackson matchup. Of course, they're not playing against each other, but that matchup is something that we always look at. So it'll be good to see how they play well. They have a rough stretch They have the Ravens. They have the 49ers right after that. Both 2 home games, which is good to play those games at home. You want your crowd at your back. But this is going to be a true test to see how well Deshaun Watson is, progressing and how well he can perform if he can replicate that game he had against the Titans versus these two next top two opponents.